Welcome to the fifth session of the classes of epidemiology. We have been talking on different issues. We started with understanding the terms related to epidemiology. Then gradually we shifted during last two sessions on the epidemiological studies. And in epidemiological studies, we have been focusing on descriptive epidemiology because that is very frequently performed study. It is cheaper, it is easier, and as we know, it is an observational study. In descriptive study, we had learnt into details about how time factor helps because we take the in which year, in which particular season. So we started knowing about the seasonal trends or secular trends which are for the long period. So for an example, the cardiac conditions are increasing since last 50 years. That was a secular trend. When measles vaccination was not there, the measles cases were increasing at 2 to 3 years. That was known as the seasonal or periodical gaps. All these things are very important in understanding the occurrence of a disease in a community. Accordingly, we can plan the control measures or the preventive measures. The second group of factors relate to place. Time is important to study the local situations also, but places usually compare two places abroad or within the nation, the states. So there may be international differences in the occurrence of the disease. There may be national differences in the occurrence of the disease, or there may be local differences also. And this may be related to two factors. Either the genes are responsible because different nations may have the population with a different genetic lot, or the environment, which is of course different in the different countries or different states. Even say environment of Kashmir cannot be compared with the environment of Kerala. So either the genes are responsible or the environment is responsible. How to decide upon that? That some scientists have a wonderful idea that if we study those who have been migrating or the migrated population, migrants, perhaps we may have some clue because those who migrate from one country, from for an example, those who have migrated from India to US, if they have some diseases which are equivalent to Indian population, we may come to a conclusion that this is because of their genetic lot. And if they are different than the US, certainly we can try to establish that yes, it is because of their origin in India. But certain conditions which are not so common in India, but they are common in USA, and the migrants from India in US have those conditions more, it means that though their genetic lot is not equivalent to America, now they are having the diseases which are more tuned to be with the Americans. And this may be related to environment or say food patterns or lifestyle or habits, etc. Such as studies are very important to identify whether the culture plays some role or standard of living plays some role or the external environment plays some role. Otherwise, we may go to tell that yes, genetic lot is important. This is where the comparison is very, very important. And you see, variations will be even within the state also. Whatever is happening in Saurashtra may be different from the mid Gujarat or South Gujarat. There are several examples quoted if you want to give the examples. International differences are there that carcinoma stomach is in Japan is common, while carcinoma of the stomach is unusual in United States of America. And looking to that, suppose we compare the Japanese migrants in United States having the conditions, we can come to a conclusion that whether the Japanese who have migrated to America have adopted the American lifestyle or not. If that would have happened, then there perhaps the stomach cancer, which is more common in Japan, may have now changed to American style because they do not have much. But it is said that such changes occur if they are because of the lifestyles after 2 to 3 generations. And that's why such studies require a waiting period most of the times. Yes, if we study the twins, say one of the child is in Japan, another child is being reared in US of the same parents, then the study may be more, say, giving some more indications about the role of the stay or role of the genetics. In India, we know that compared to the Western countries, the cancer of the oral cavity and particularly the because of the tobacco chewing habits, etc., is much more. While in the industrialized country, such a cancer is not common. This that definitely talks about the place differences in the epidemiology. In Japan, again, it has been said that compared to the West, say the cancer breast is less common. Now, again, cancer breast has been known to be related to the mothers giving breastfeeding. Those mothers who give breastfeeding are expected to be protected against cancer breast. By and large, this is proportional thing. But the mothers who have never given breast milk to their children, comparatively, they have more chances of having cancer breast. Even in India, say suppose endemic goiter. Now, such a goiter is more in the sub-Himalayan regions because of the deficiency in the iodine. So that is the regional difference within our own country. So is true with the malaria, so is true with the fluorosis, so is true with the um, filaria. These differences are because of the local living conditions also. So whenever we talk about a particular disease, we need to take into account the residence or the locality of the individual who is affected with that disease. Say Madhya Pradesh had letharism cases because that kesari dal is a staple diet in some of the areas of Madhya Pradesh, and that leads to letharism condition, which is known as the, you must have studied in the lessons of the nutrition. Leprosy is more prevalent in the tribal areas of Gujarat, but gradually now it has been controlled. Erstwhile, these diseases are more common where the medical facilities are also not available. So that can also be one of the reasons. Similarly, nutritional deficiency, those regions which are relatively poor, they may be affected more with the nutritional deficiencies. Apart from the international and national differences, there may be differences based on rural and urban areas. Certain diseases are more common in rural, especially the communicable diseases are more common in rural areas. But those diseases which are because of the air pollution or density of population or industrialization, they are more common in the urban areas. For example, chronic bronchitis, accidents. Now, these are related to the urbanization, no? Accidents. Then, carcinoma of the lung. This may be related with the smoking, intensive cigarette smoking, cardiovascular conditions. These are much more related. Mental illnesses because of the stress and drug dependence. These are less, comparatively less in the rural areas. But at the same time, if you go to the rural areas, then there may be possibility of the helminthiasis, worm infestation, because they may be going, now the situation has changed because sanitation is improving everywhere. But those areas where the sanitation is poor, the worm infestation is much more. Similarly, where the facilities are not provided for the saving, so infant mortality rate, maternal mortality rate are higher in the rural area. Somehow the things go on changing. I have seen that now in rural areas the facilities are enough, and in some of the urban slum areas our facilities are not enough. That's why whatever we are talking about, urban rural difference may be related to the facilities available, facilities for diagnosis, facility for the treatment. These are the reasons why certain areas have more morbidity in certain conditions or mortality in certain conditions. How can we decide it? We can have a map of our state, say Gujarat state, and try to shade it with the different colors. For example, recently in COVID, we've identified that certain areas did not have any case of COVID for even 2 months, isn't it? Say near Dwarka district, there was no case. Butad district, up to today, there was no case. But in dense areas like Ahmedabad, Vadodara, Surat, there are many cases. So if we try to plot on a map, whether it is state map or international world map or map of the country, India map, we try to shade those areas where the frequencies of the given condition are much more. We will have some idea this, yes. For example, suppose we mark for the endemic goiter. There will be large number of say, shaded areas in the sub-Himalayan regions. That's why we will learn something out of that. Then epidemiologist learns by putting the clusters. Even in Ahmedabad, suppose we put the clusters where the cases are maximum. Recently in COVID-19, we found that those areas which are within the old city, fort area, जिसको कोट अहमदाबाद कहते हैं, पुराना अहमदाबाद, there the density of population is much more and somehow the infection spreaded much more. So that clustered area gives an idea about the epidemiological occurrence of a given infection. Initially, that has a root in the history. In London, and this is a classical thing, John Snow started thinking about that why people in a particular area are getting the diarrheal conditions. And they were getting from the river Thames. The water was pumped from that. But those pumping stations were providing water to the different areas. The area which was most affected, John Snow started investigating and he found that particular pumping station number X was responsible for providing the water to the area where maximum number of cases of cholera are seen. Now that was the first time when even the bacteriology was not known. The microscope was not invented. In those days, John Snow, only on the basis of shading the areas that this particular area has water from so and so well, and that's why the water seems to be the responsible factor for cholera. This study was known as a very classical study, and in 1854, about 150 years back, this had happened. So, if we try to be inquisitive about the place of the occurrence, we know not many things about that. We know that certain diseases are exclusively in certain areas. For example, yellow fever. That is not in India at all. We don't have any case of yellow fever. Generally, Brazil and other South American areas and some of the African countries, they have yellow fever. Similarly, sleeping sickness. This is more in the African countries. We do not have it. That is not in the Europe also. So area-wise, if the traveler comes from that area, we need to be careful that he may be harboring the organism for that particular disease. Now, this means that if we look at the place, we can have a possibility of identification of a communicable disease, a non-communicable disease, an acute disease, or a chronic disease also. Everywhere the locality affects. And that's why what is important, we must ask the history of residence of the patient. Where does he come from? Generally, we take address of any patient. But if we find that the address is from a different locality where so and so disease is very common, we need to be careful. And this happens related to migration also. That's why most of the time the migrant studies help us to identify the causative factors for a given disease. Suppose I want to compare area A with the area B. I cannot launch studies in, say, one country and another country for the similar condition. Rather than doing so, as I told earlier, if we study the migrants of country A to country B, and then there are two possibilities. If the migrants have a disease which is more common to the country which they have adopted, so Japanese who had come to America and have the style of the Americans and have that disease, that means that this disease is because of the lifestyle change. But if the Japanese have the disease equivalent to the category which they had actually in Japan, this may be because of the genetic linkage. But such studies definitely give us some idea. We have to compare the rates and ratio and find out the disease, death, mortality rate and compare with them. This requires that we should have some knowledge that in a given country, so and so condition is more common and then compare with the migrants. Uh, as far as Gujarat is concerned, we know that Odisha workers are coming to Surat in large numbers in the diamond industry. And Odisha was known for the Plasmodium falciparum cases in malaria, Malaria falciparum, which is known as the serious type of malaria. Now, those migrants, those workers from coming from Odisha, they will come to Gujarat, and the mosquito bites them. The disease will be spreading in the Surat population also. And when they go back, they will take another species of the Plasmodia from Gujarat to Odisha. That is also possible. And large number of workers are coming from Bihar, Rajasthan, Odisha to Gujarat. And similarly, Gujaratis also travel all over the country. This migration for the short term, migration for the long term, migration from the generations together, these all have an impact on the study. That's why what is important, the places do play an important role in the identification of a given disease. We need to note what particular area the person is coming from. Now, the third factor was a person distribution. We talked about time distribution. We talked about place distribution. And the third question, where we were asking the question who, that is person distribution. We will end up with that. In person, what are the different variables or the factors that any person should have, will be having? Say when you ask somebody, what will you ask? Age. Yes, age is important. Some conditions are common in children, like say measles. Some conditions are common in the middle age group, like cancer. Some conditions are very common in the old age group, like say atherosclerosis. So age is responsible for certain conditions. There are sometimes bimodality. Bimodality means the occurrence of a disease takes place in the initial years of 20 to 30 years, and again it takes place into 50 years onwards. Like say, there are certain diseases, Hodgkin's disease. So in that case, we need to be careful whether there are two different groups being studied or the same group has the different modes. Such a study allows us to know the possibility of an etiology in a given condition. The third one, second factor is sex. We know that certain conditions are commoner in the men, and the men are more affected with the carcinoma lung because of the smoking. Men are more affected with the coronary heart disease, maybe because of the stress. Women are more affected with diabetes mellitus, hypertension, hypothyroidism, and also obesity. Now, again, I tell you that these are the established facts which continuously go on changing with the change in the lifestyle. It may happen that the women also take up the smoking and they may have carcinoma lung. Similarly, the man may have sedentary life in the house and they may have the diseases which the otherwise the women may be having. But this is definitely worth studying whether the age factor and sex factors are responsible or the factors of behavior are responsible. If we know that, we will have a difference to be identified whether it is basic biology like age and sex or the habits of an individual, cultural factors. Because suppose the women have some condition more, this may be because of she does not have a chance to get treatment. That's also possible because women by and large may not have been taken to the hospitals compared to the men in certain rural areas or some certain orthodox areas. So these all factors have to be considered. Not in India, but another factor which is more considered is ethnicity or race factors. In America, they say that the Negroes have certain conditions more in the, like say, drug dependence or alcoholism compared to the whites. But again, the scientists say that this may be biased. Those persons who are subjected to drug dependence, they may be very poor. They may not be getting the good services and so on and so forth. But the difference between these two requires the study. And once we study, we can know whether it is because of the ethnicity, that is the race, or some socio-economic factors. A good thing is marital status is also being studied, and people say, particularly scientific literature tells us that those who are married, they are likely to have a long life. Now, what is the reason? Perhaps this may be because of the security. And some have criticized that this is because those who are really very healthy, they may be having a chance of marriage, and those who do not, who are not healthy, they may not prefer to get married, whatever it is. But the difference requires a study. There is a possibility that a marital relationship or marriage is also leading to some security in the person, and that security allows him to be little stress free in certain situations. This may be responsible for longer life. Occupational, there's a whole chapter on the occupational disease in our preventive social medicine. Say persons who are working in the coal mines will be suffering with the pneumoconiosis because the dust will be generated and they will have inhaled that in the lungs. The persons who are working in the Cambe, they have agar, that industry, they also have silicosis. Persons working in the quarries, they also have the dust generated and have pneumoconiosis. So occupation leads to certain conditions. But those who are sedentary life, so office goers, the working persons who are in the working in the offices, because of the sedentary life, there may have be a say, great chance of the coronary heart disease and other conditions which are because of the sedentary lifestyle. Similarly, social class may be different. Say, upper social class may be having more facilities, more ease of the life, and they may be having different types of disease compared to the poor. Similarly, behavior is individual personality. Somebody who behaves in a different way may have a disease. Smokers may have a carcinoma lung. It was said that the women have more chances of CACX, cancer cervix, but that was related to more intercourses or more partners in the sex life. Later on, it was identified no, it's not so. It is because of the perhaps some infection. Now, that is going to be proved soon, and we now learn about that a viral infection which takes place in that case. But frequent such episodes lead to an understanding about the causative factors or the contributing factor for a disease. Recently, the stress has been more emphasized on that. Stress also leads to certain conditions like cancer, and it increases the susceptibility to the disease. Immunity is reduced in the stress. Migration is also important. So all these are also host factors, or host means personal factors. My dear friends, we try to understand some examples, some major titles related to time, place, and person that play a role in the causation or contribution to the disease in a given community. If we continue such studies, we may be finding many other factors uncovered because of the study. And that's the fun of the epidemiology. We shall be now talking further in the analytical epidemiology and the studies which can be conducted based on the, say, we were talking about apart from the observational studies, the other studies were analytical study, descriptive study, analytical study, and experimental study. We shall go further into details of those study patterns. So we meet next time again.